Greetings, fellow cruisers. This is Jeff from Enjoy Life Traveling. Today, I'm going to kind of give you the beginnings of it all as far as what you might want to do if you are considering trying to earn cruises through the casino. This is something that was mentioned in the comments section, sort of a starter kit for someone that might be wanting to look into this. And I thought, yeah, that actually is a pretty good idea. So while I'm certain that some of the things you'll have heard me say in maybe other videos, if you've watched them, I think there'll probably be a few new things in here. But anyway, I'll just jump right in. So the first thing I want to tell you is that if you're thinking about doing this and you're already a gambler, then this should be for fun. This is something that you're doing to enjoy yourself. Now, there's things that I'll get into that you can do to help your chances. But if you are getting stressed playing the game, this is probably not the way to go about it. The other thing is, and this was something that I didn't even really think about, but it was in the comments of an earlier video a few months ago, was that there are people that are cruising a lot that don't do the casinos, but are considering doing the casinos to get, see if they can get some free cruise offers. And again, I had kind of originally thought that a lot of the people that be watching it would be people that were already somewhat familiar with the casino end of it. And I thought, you know what, this is worth pursuing. So if you're going in there as someone who doesn't play in the casino, and again, I'm going to get into a lot more of the nuts and bolts, but the first thing you want to do is you want to have fun. If you're nervous about it, then you're probably not going to have a good time at it. And picking the right machines, again, we'll get into that, is definitely a piece of it. But if you're going into this to get free cruises, if it's a part of your entertainment, a part of your budget, things that you were going to do anyway or wanted to start doing and you made a budget for it, I think that's absolutely fine. But again, you want to try to make sure you're staying on budget because, obviously people have gambling problems and that's how it all begins. So you want to cover yourself there. Your whole family can be affected if there's financial ruin because of mistakes in gambling. So a few things that you're going to need to know if you're looking to get free cruises is what all is entailed in that, because it isn't just that you go there and you get free cruises. And I realize that if you're watching this, you know that, but I want to kind of get into it just for the handful of people that may think it's easier than what it is. So the first thing that you need to know is that if you're doing this, there's time put in. A lot of time, depending on what you're going for. Most of what I do is with the intention of spending a good portion of my time in the casino, a couple hours every night. Some days it may be 3 or 4 hours. Other days it might be a half hour or not at all. But I'm saying overall, I'm spending a significant amount of time in the casino. I'll maybe go, have dinner and then, watch a show. Depending on if I'm with friends or not, there may be another show involved. And then I'm going to probably end up on the later part at night in the casino, spending some time there. If I'm by myself or just with my wife, that's because she enjoys the casino, that's probably what we're going to do. So the time makes a difference, particularly, and this gets into the bet amounts. So I always talk about playing, like minimum bets, betting low, playing for a long period of time. But the catch is that if you really don't want to play for a long time and you are in a situation to where you're not getting enough points because you're betting, very low. And I'll give you a case in point is that, I had a friend recently and I was talking, I really think that 400 is a number to start to try to get to point-wise to start seeing some improvement as far as trying to get some offers. And she played a game. It was one that I had recommended, Crazy Money. She was betting 20, 40, and 60 cents at a time. I mean, there were low bets. And she was having a good time. She was loving the game. But this was a longer cruise. This was a 12-night transatlantic cruise. And she ended up, I think, with like 355 points. And so she really hasn't seen any offers from that. But again, I was trying to encourage her to go ahead and maybe play to 400. But I mean, that's money. And if it's not something that you do, because she's not like a natural gambler, it's not something that she had done. That feels odd because I think that she was at that 355 points and I think she lost like 120, 130 bucks to get there, which from a point standpoint, if you're going to lose, that's actually really good and good outcome as far as your points versus, the money in. But again, if that's not something that you're looking to do, it can be very intimidating. So I'm glad that she had a good time, because if not, if she's disappointed, which I don't think she is, but if she's disappointed that she hasn't seen cruise offers, it's probably going to fall into the fact that really even, and it shows you kind of on the charts that they have there, even just to get $100 off starts at 400 points. And I think that's also goes with the time. I think that you kind of need to trip that trigger nowadays. When I was doing this a few years ago, really during COVID, I think that the numbers were considerably lower, but I think that they've been climbing because of that. And there's a lot of people that are wanting to cruise and cruise for free. So they have to adjust that to make sense, just business sense. It isn't that they're trying to be cheap or anything like that, but any of these cruise lines, they have to make money, and the casino is to help fill the ship. But if they're already filling the ship, then giving out free casino ones can actually take away other income from somebody else that might be in there wanting to spend, quite a bit of money on a cruise. So again, they want to sell these cruises, not give them away free. And the casino is really a completely separate entity as far as Royal Caribbean or really any of these casinos are, as far as being on the ship. They're really ran separately. That's why you see the loyalty programs that are different between the casino and the cruise ship. So even though you may be able to do both at the same time because you're on the ship getting points and you're on the ship playing in the casino, they're actually separate as far as your perks. So if you're trying to play and you've got a 4-day cruise, you're going to probably need a higher denomination bet to try to get to any sort of reasonable amount of money to get cruise offers. Really, I like the number 800. I think that's a good one to try to shoot for if you're right there. But if you can't, again, I would tell you, if you're just going to start, you want to kind of get a feel. A lot of times maybe you're finding games. If you've never done this before, you're trying to find games that you like. And the games that a lot of times that look a lot of fun are also the games that will just suck you dry, and you'll be sitting there going, well, I don't understand. This wasn't fun at all because I just spent $100 in like 10 minutes. Games, like Huff and Puff, it's really easy to play that game for 10 minutes and lose $100 even betting the minimum, because the game is a high volatility game. If you happen to hit a feature that might extend your time, I'm just saying that generally speaking, it's going to be a short time. So picking the right game, which again, we'll get into, is a big part of it. But it's also, again, from a beginning standpoint, it can be something that can leave a sour taste in your mouth if you jump on a machine and you lose really fast. And that's why I was saying that picking the right machine can make all the difference in the world as far as your outcomes go. And again, you definitely should go into the casino with the idea that you are about to lose money. I realize that everybody in there is wanting to win big. I get all that, but it's a casino. The casino is built for taking people's money. That is their function. It's a business to take people's money. They put it in with a shot, with a hope, a dream of maybe cashing in big. Or in some cases, and much like I do, is I do enjoy some of the games and how they play. And so I'll play low and I'll play slow. And that way I can get the free cruises I'm after. Which brings me to another big point that I really want you to take in, because I don't think that I've hit on this nearly enough. And that is, if you are trying to play for free cruises, and some of you may already understand this, but it depends on what you're after. Because if you can get free cruise offers and you can take multiple offers, there's a value there. But if you get in there and you spend and you lose the same money that you could have bought from another casino, and you could have maybe just paid for the one to begin with that you wanted, rather than to spend it in the casino and getting it free, if you get my meaning there. I'm not saying not to. If you're enjoying what you're doing and you can go ahead and you're planning on something anyway and you just want to do that, that's fine. But if you can do it to where if you get multiple offers, you can accept multiple offers, then that kind of, if I lose $1,000 and I get one offer and it's $1,000 that I could have just bought the same trip with, I broke even. But if I can spend that $1,000 and get enough points to where I can take 3 or 4 cruises, to where, again, I'm spending $300-400 a cruise as far as that $1,000 I put out, breaking it down. Yeah, that's an easy win there. But I'm able to do that. This is what I'm doing. Other than this, I guess you say I'm retired. I'm 60. So yeah, it works out because I can do that. Even with my wife, who's still working, she works at a job. She's been there for 30 years, and so she's able to get like 7 cruises in all of the vacation time that she's got, and the hours that she has gets her off every other Friday, but she works long days. So it allows us to take some other small cruises in there and sneak them in without even using vacation time or not using much. Not everybody can do that, so it may not work for you. And that's why I wanted to bring it up in this starter video idea, is that if you are looking to get cruises, what's your situation? What are you wanting out of it? And even if you're just wanting a free cruise and you know exactly what cruise you want, the other thing you're going to need to know is that the cruise offers are not just you get to pick your cruise of all they have available. It doesn't work that way. It's of the cruises that they make available, and sometimes those offers, as you probably know, are discounted as far as dollars off. They can be you get free and then a second guest can get a discount for the cruise, or you can get obviously to where it's 2 people for free, and that's the one you want. Because even if you're traveling solo, if you get a buy one get one type offer, you have to pay for a second person whether they're with you or not. You don't have to pay their port fees and taxes if you're traveling solo, but you're going to have to pay for that body even if you got yours as a free cruise. Someone needs to be with you because they would be out that money because you're not getting a solo cabin. They don't do those. So you need to keep that in mind when you're trying to plan what you're wanting to do. If you just think that I want to go on this trip, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get whatever points, say you get 1,200 or 1,500 points, whatever the number is, and you think, oh yeah, well that'll get me. Not every cruise is on there. They're not even close. A lot of times there'll be ships. I love the older ships, but a lot of times they'll be the older ships or the newer ships. A lot of times those can be shorter cruises. And for me, because of the travel, and that's where the expense is at for me, because I can get a free cruise, but they're not paying for my flights. They're not paying for the hotel stay the night before. That's why I try to put things back to back to back to cover those expenses. So I'm not going back and forth 3 times, paying for 6 airfares, total there and back, and 3 hotel rooms and the food that goes involved with that. I'm looking to do back to back to back, or back to side to back, or whatever, as much to where there's no lag or layover to where I'm paying for an extra hotel room or anything like that. Again, if that's okay with your budget, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if maybe everybody thinks about that when they're putting their plans together and how they're wanting to get in there and play in the casino. So I thought I'd bring it up. I thought I'd let you know this needs to be a part of your plan. So if you are trying to win free cruises, I'm going to get into a little bit of the games. Now, some of this I've definitely covered before. You want to play games that are low in volatility. There are people that think that all the machines are terrible and that it's just a myth, and that's just not true. The manufacturers put out there what's available on these machines as to their volatility, so you can find out, and playing those makes all the difference in the world. Again, playing crazy money on the minimum bet, if you've got a lot of time to kill, even betting super small, you're probably going to do okay as far as getting points, but it's going to be a real slow grind. Whereas, again, if you're trying to hit a certain point level, and you should look, you need to look, because every month that changes, and so there'll be a code, and it'll be on the wall there by the cashier's desk, typically, possibly also by the casino host desk. And if you scan that, you will see that if you hit, this many points, you get this. If you get that many points, you get that. And those are the instant cruise offers. That is a little different from the email offers, and that one really requires the time spent along with the points, but it can bring in a lot more offers. This isn't just the one offer that you're looking for on the wall. It's that buildup of offers that keep coming in your mailbox, or your email. And so having that time in can make a huge difference. And if you're going in and you're wanting to earn a free cruise, and maybe you're okay with it, just any free cruise, and the first free cruise for that month is showing 800 points, If you are on a shorter cruise or you don't plan to put the time in, you're going to probably have to raise your denomination to get the points fast enough. But as you raise the denomination, if you're betting twice as much to try to get to twice as many points, you're losing your money twice as fast in half the spins. And that's, I think, where people miss out, is that when you're betting high is fine, but you're also getting less spins. And so a lot of times, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, but it's important, when you're picking your machines, you might be looking at a machine and betting 75 cents, and you look at the mini and the minor, or maybe even the major, and it says $10 and 20 or whatever the number is, and then you jump it to $1.50 bet. A lot of times those numbers are the same. It depends on the machine, and that's why I'm telling you about paying attention to that. So if you have a chance to hit the mini or the minor, the ones that are most likely going to show up, do you want to do it betting 75 cents, or you want to do it betting $1.50? Well, if you've got the time, I would tell you at 75 cents would be the way I would recommend. Whereas if you're just crunched for time and you got to get points, you're going to probably have to look another direction and bet more. But you also want to make sure you're on a lower volatility game. And that's hard to find if you're not familiar with casinos, as to what, and when I say hard to find it, I'm not saying they're not there. I'm saying you don't necessarily know what to look for. And even in a video here, I'm going to put in a few games that I would recommend, but it's hard to just look at a machine if you don't know what you're doing and have an idea as to whether it's a low, medium, or high volatility. And again, there's things that kind of fall in that low to medium. There's a mid-range there's a medium to high. There's more than just 3 tiers of a setting. So when you're doing these, you want to find the things that'll let you play a while. Really, even if you're trying to bet higher, you still want games that are going to let you continue to play, because if it just takes your money so fast, again, like Huff and Puff, fun game. Plenty of people have won big on it, but because of that, way more people have lost more on it. And that's the give and take to understand the difference in the volatility, is that you might have people that go, oh man, I've had some real good luck on that. That doesn't mean that that's all there is to it. I've talked to 2 people and they both said it was great, and so I'm going to do it. The manufacturer tells you the volatility of the game, and maybe they were just lucky on the times they've been there. Maybe they're exaggerating the wins, because that happens. People don't want to admit their losses. I've had people comment that, because I've put out videos about how much I've lost on different trips, and they appreciate that honesty, because that's the reality of it. You're in a casino. If you're talking to somebody, you're listening to them on YouTube, and they just keep winning, they're full of it. It's just not the way it works. Particularly if you're at doing slots, because again, there's settings on there. The other thing to think about is that people try to get too wrapped up into the return to player, because the return to player is not the volatility of the machine. So the return to player would be the amount of money. If someone spends $1,000, how much would come back to the player? Well, they might be set at 95% of that. It might be set at 85% of that. That's not the volatility, because that is strung out over the entire life of the machine that's going to have that button push. So it's stretched out, and it's going to have moments, ebbs and flows, to where, it's not, it's just not doing what you want it to do. And then all of a sudden, maybe it's hitting good. And so maybe that's the time someone's on the machine, they're going, oh man, this machine is just so easy. I can't believe that people, complain about it. Well, it's got a balance. If it's been sucking out everybody's money before you to an incredible degree, someone's going to win. So try to keep that in mind when you're looking at these. I think when I do this video, I'm thinking that I'm going to probably do it in sections, and maybe do like a part 1, part 2, part 3, because I don't want the videos to be so long. But I also realize that I'm probably going to put time in between making 1 and 2 and 3. I'm also going to probably put some time in between releasing 1 and 2 and 3, because, well, one is that because this is a travel channel and I do many things besides, just the casino, I also want to have some feedback on things that you want to hear. So in the comments, I would really appreciate it if you let me know your thoughts on it and maybe have some give and take answers. It is hard for me to see once I've responded to something from the whole conversation that goes on. So if I've missed something, I apologize. I was actually just looking through the stuff the other day trying to see if there were things that were missed responses. And there were some. So I apologize if that's the case or if you got a very, very late response. I'm new enough to YouTube that I definitely don't have it all down. And I don't really have as good a plan as I'd like to as far as YouTube. There's one thing to know about cruising and to know about casinos, but it's a whole other thing to know about how the electronics works, being a photographer, being an editor, being, everything else that comes along with doing this as far as, using the internet and YouTube and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. My Facebook for this channel really hasn't done much because I haven't done much with it. I'm not that active from a business standpoint on there, but it's something I'm working on. So anyway, I'll get off that tangent so I can get back to the things that you're here for. And that is, again, the casinos. So if you are looking to find the right game in the casinos, first of all, if you have an idea of some games that you like, that you're looking for, the same manufacturer may have something that is incredibly similar that's just at a different casino, because they'll do the Wicked Wheel Panda, I think I've brought up. Well, there's other Wicked Wheels that are out there. Generally speaking, if they're not, if they haven't thrown another crazy name in there, Wicked Wheel Super Deluxe with this, and that, versus just a regular Wicked Wheel, it's probably a pretty similar game. So try to keep that in mind when you're trying to look. If you find a machine you like, if you get a look at it, you might also look at who the manufacturer is. Now, manufacturers, again, will make low, medium, high. They're not just going to make one because they're trying to pull in different types of people because people gamble differently. And so, but if you have an idea of some games that you've played that you liked, you can maybe even look them up beforehand. I've got a few videos out there of different casinos on ships. I obviously haven't been on all of them, and other people do too. So if you can get like something that's as recent as possible and watch that video and find a few games that are there that you want to check out, you can just look that up online. Most of the time, some of the time, it depends on the manufacturer. You're going to be able to find out as to what the play is, whether it's the manufacturer or because you've heard some people overall in the groups talk about it. So I would highly encourage you that if you're looking to do casinos, that you do some casino walkthrough videos, you watch those, and you earmark a few that you want to go back and look up before you even get on the ship to see what they got. Because at least that's probably there. They do change these machines out, but at least you got a decent chance of it being there if you've got a few of them picked out. But once you've done that, I would tell you to, if you just are coming in blind, if you're watching this and you're on the ship now and you have to look up all the different casino videos because you want to get out there, you can just look at a machine a lot of times and tell how it's going to hit. So if it's got all the different crazy, progressives that are, hundreds of thousands of dollars, just huge, and even getting the minors thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, those are going to be higher volatility, because when that sucker pays out, it needs to have well surpassed everything that it has gotten just for the one. So if it's got a $50,000 jackpot or $100,000 jackpot, and they make these with $1 million jackpots, it had to have taken in, not counting the other things that have paid out, but millions just to have hit the one that it's eventually going to pay. So if you see something like that, keep it in mind. That Dragon Links is one of those that, a lot of times you see it and it's sitting at $100,000 and you think, well, it must be about to hit, and maybe, but it doesn't mean it must to. It's high volatility machine. So I would tell you not to necessarily play it for that. By the same token, if you see one of those games that are sitting, it's a high volatility like that, that's 15 or 20,000 and it's Dragon Link, someone's just hit it not that long ago. If you love the game, pick the one that's got the higher, I guess. But for me anyway, and you've heard this probably from me before, I'll tend to look a step down. If hitting that big jackpot is Very few and far between. Fun if it happens to you, but I mean, it's more of a needle in the haystack kind of a thing. You don't want to just keep getting poked and not get the needle. So when you're looking for a game, I would like to look at things that, what's the major? What is that next step down, or 2 step downs, depending on the game? Because that's usually a pretty good prize to hit, a good jackpot, and it has a much better chance of hitting than that super grand, whatever giant jackpots out there. So when you're looking for machines, look at something that is fun, but not so over the top with the crazy graphics. And you're watching somebody, finally get their bonus going, and it ends up being $10, for this big bonus because they got, something really, really good on the machine, and then all of a sudden it just craps out on the game, or it just doesn't pay the dollar amount that you're looking for. The other thing I want to warn you about is if you're going to play these games, don't look at a win and decide that machine must pay good. I've seen that one happen to where you choose a game, it's a higher volatility game. It's okay to play a game that's high volatility as long as you know what you're getting into. Well, if it hits and suddenly you're getting you get $2,000 or $3,000, it's going to be probably on your mind that I need to find that game again, and because that one's a good one. I won big. Well, you get on the game again, you find it, and then you lose because that's not how the game plays. It's a high volatility game, and you find maybe you try to look for it again, and you lose because it's a high volatility game. It was a long shot for it to ever hit the 2,000 to begin with, or 3,000 or 5,000. So looking for it and trying to do it is probably not gonna pay off. If you happen to hit it again on a high volatility machine, you were lucky, and you may be telling other people if they need to play that game, they're not going to have that good fortune in all probability. So, certainly be careful when you're looking at that. I wanted to talk about a few games. I have mentioned this before. It's games that will help you play that I would tell you to look for, and I'll give you a couple games. Well, I already have. That I would tell you to try to stay away from. So the games that I look for, Crazy Money, if you can play that at the lowest volatility, the minimum bet, you can play for a very long time with very little money. It's a good game and it's a fun game. Sometimes you get the games and they're maybe not as fun. I'll give you an example here. It's a good volatility game. Lower volatility is you play like Double Diamond. The 3 reel, it's an older game, one of the oldest ones you'll probably find in a casino. And it'll be, sometimes they'll have progressives and all that out, but sometimes they'll just say the max you can hit is, 1,600 or to 2,000, depending on what your denomination you're playing. It's a one line, quarter machine. So you're betting 75 cents a bet, same as you would on some of these other machines, but it's not as fun. It's not all the flashy stuff going on. It may seem like it's going fast, your money is, but usually those games will kick back. Even if you have a drier spell, usually if you keep playing the game, it'll kick back and hit that return to player kind of thing that I was talking about. I like games that let me play, and that's kind of one of those things towards if you've got the money to put in there, if you play it long enough, a lot of times you'll get back to where you were or close, whatever, 85, 95% of it, so you can keep playing. Games like Huff and Puff, the bad games, I say bad games, the high volatility games, Huff and Puff, Dragon Links, and any of them that are from that. If you're looking on the board, and I saw this one recently on I think it was Explorer of the Seas. They had the Huff and Puff, and they had another, I can't remember which one it was, one of the pig games. You could see, just at looking at it, that those machines were all tied together. The jackpots rose and were exactly the same across the board. So that means that if one of those machines hit, all of the jackpots will come down to the base level. Not all machines do that. But it let me know to where the other game, I didn't even consider it because I knew it was a high volatility game. They're not going to put a different volatility game that has a chance to win that next to the Huff and Puff. They're going to be, and they're played exactly the same, just with different graphics. So those are things that you can look for. Games that I like to play. The 3 rail, I can play that one. It's not probably my favorite, but I can play it. But I like games like Invaders, from the planet Moolah. I think that's a good, well, it's what they consider a low to medium volatility game. A 2 is how it's rated on their website. That's a good one to play. And I like some of the medium volatility games. I don't think that's bad to play those. So a lot of times Press Your Luck I like to play. I like to play, again, the Wicked Wheel. There's several different versions of that Wicked Wheel that are out there, which I can show you. And then Little Shop of Horrors, I think that's just a lot of fun. And that's more of a medium volatility game there. These are games that a lot of times the catch is that other people know too. So you're in there and you're trying to find your game and someone's always on it because it's a low volatility game, or maybe it's not a low, but it's a low to medium, maybe even a medium. But people know that. People know it's a fun game. So they will sit there, and I'm one of them. If I'm in the casino and I'm playing a game, a lot of times I don't move. I might be sitting the same game for 3 hours straight. That is not uncommon. For my wife and I to just play and play and play, take turns going to the restroom and keep the game, because that's the game we're enjoying. That's the one's paying us. That's the one that's paying, giving us the free cruises. We may not move, and I don't blame anybody else for doing that. If a game's paying, don't give up your game when you don't want to, just because you're worried about somebody else. That's why there's all these choices in there. So get the game that you want to. But yeah, there's looking, and if you want to try a game that is that you're not sure about, go in with a budget, and never think that it's about to hit. You might be in a situation where you can see the board on it, and maybe it's maxed out at the not the grand, but maybe the major or something is just maxed out, and it's been maxed out. That probably does have a little more likelier chance to hit because it's already reached that. And sometimes when it resets, it won't even reset at the minimum because it has accumulated so much before it's ever hit that max that it'll start at the next level. So if it maxes out at 10,000 and resets at 2,500, and it's been at 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 and it hasn't hit, when it does get hit, it's probably not going to reset it won't reset at 250. Most of the time, these are going to be resetting at whatever number. And it can happen to where it even resets back at the 10,000 because it's been so long since someone hit that number. So regardless, if you're looking at the machines and it's the exact same machine and one of them has been maxed out at 10,000, the other one is sitting at 3,000, I'll probably sit at the one that's going to be at the 10,000 unless the other ones are also higher, and there's even a better chance of hitting those if they're sitting there super high. So if you're going to play the game, find the right games that make sense for you. And I'm going to ask you to please comment if you like these videos, regardless. Really, if you want to just comment on your ideas, some favorite games, I don't mind giving you my feedback on it and what I think, or maybe some other people will do the same. So, take the time to comment. If you like and subscribe to the channel, again, that's going to be what really helps these videos take off. I've got one video that's really taken off, the casino video, but it's been liked and subscribed so much more than all the others that it's blown up. So I'm kind of hoping that this is one of those, and that's why I want to kind of do a series on it, because I know that it's so easy to miss other things that people have questions about, and there's a whole lot to it. So it's very easy to miss something, or wish you'd included something, or just realize it needs to be brought up in the next video. So thank you for watching. Bye.